Mhm.
ओके.
ओके, थँक्यू. नमस्कार सर्वांना. इतिहास मंचावर तुमच्या सर्वांचं खूप खूप स्वागत. महाराष्ट्र मंडळाचा जो हा उपक्रम आहे त्याच्यावरती आपण 2021 पासून प्रत्येक शुक्रवारी संध्याकाळी 8 वाजता भेटतो. इतिहासातल्या विविध विषयांवरती चर्चा करतो आणि अनेक मान्यवर जे व्याख्याते आपल्याला मिळालेले आहेत आतापर्यंत, तर त्यांची वेगवेगळ्या इतिहासातल्या विषयांवर माहितीपूर्ण अशी व्याख्यानं होतात आणि त्याच्यावरती नंतर प्रश्नोत्तर आणि चर्चा होते. आणि तर अशा पारंपरिक पद्धतीनं आपण आतापर्यंत अनेक व्याख्यानं जी आयोजित केलेली आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये वेगवेगळे विषय हाताळले. त्याच्यामधला अत्यंत गुंतागुंतीचा असा विषय आज आपण घेऊन आलो आहोत. तर ह्या सर्व आयोजनामध्ये इतिहास मंचावरती आपल्याला अनेक मंडळींची साथ लाभते. तर त्याच्यामध्ये बरेच आपले ॲडमिन्स ह्याच्यामध्ये बरेच काम करत असतात. चेतन रेगे, मी स्वतः, माधव गोगावले, विशाल नवलकर, शलाका रेगे, अनुराधा केळकर, प्रसाद अथणीकर आणि उल्का नगरकर या सगळ्यांचा ह्याच्यामध्ये सहभाग आहे. आणि त्यांची वेळोवेळी अनेक प्रकारे वेगवेगळ्या क्षेत्रामध्ये इतिहासात ते विविध विषय आणताना इथे आम्हाला खरीच मदत होते. तर त्याबद्दल त्यांना मी इथे धन्यवाद म्हणतो. आजचा जो विषय आज आपण इथे घेऊन आलो आहोत, काश्मीर. काश्मीर म्हणता क्षणीच आपल्याला फक्त दिसतं ते रक्तरंजित त्याचं जी वस्तुस्थिती आहे, काश्मीरची इतकी वर्ष भिजत पडलेलं घोंगडं, किंवा ज्या प्रकारे काश्मीरच्या लोकांनी तिथे रक्तपात पाहिलेला आहे आणि कोणाचं जी परिस्थिती निर्माण झाली त्याच्याबद्दल सगळ्यांच्या मनामध्ये कन्सर्न राहिलेला आहे त्याचा. तर काश्मीर हा मुळातच फार पुरातन भारतीय भूमीचा भाग आहे. म्हणजे आख्यायिका किंवा पुराणांमध्ये ज्या गोष्टी येतात त्याच्यामध्ये खरं तर रामायण म्हणजे वाल्मिकी रामायणामध्ये काश्मीरचा उल्लेख आढळत नाही, परंतु व्यासांनी जे महाभारत लिहिलं त्याच्यामध्ये काश्मीरचा उल्लेख आहे. जेव्हा राजा युधिष्ठिर जेव्हा राजसूय यज्ञ करतो तर त्यावेळेला अर्जुनाला उत्तर दिशा दिलेली असते. तर त्यावेळेला अर्जुनाने म्हणजे त्याची जी स्वारी उत्तरेतल्या राज्यांवर झाली, तर इंद्रप्रस्थापासून अर्जुनाने काश्मीर जम्बू या दोन्ही प्रांतातल्या राजांना स्वतःचं मांडलिक बनवलं होतं आणि त्यांनी न विरोध करता त्याचा अर्जुनाचा त्यांचं सार्वभौमत्व आहे ते मान्य केलेलं होतं. तर असा काश्मीर हा फार जुना प्रांत आहे. आख्यायिकांमध्ये कश्यप ऋषींनी त्रिदेवांच्या आज्ञेनुसार या काश्मीर मंडलाची निर्मिती केली आणि तिथे नागांचं जे वास्तव्य असायचं, त्यामुळे तक्षक नाग किंवा अनंत नाग वगैरे हे जे नागांची स्थानं आहेत तिथे काश्मीरमध्ये त्यांचं वास्तव्य असायचं. मार्तंड सूर्य मंदिर किंवा शारदा पीठ आणि अनेक म्हणजे सरस्वतीचं क्षेत्र मानलं जायचं काश्मीर. परंतु नंतरच्या अनेक सहस्त्रांच्या वर्ष म्हणजे इतिहासामध्ये ह्या गोष्टींमध्ये बदल होत गेला. आणि जेव्हा आपण हा काळ जो बघतो, आपल्यावरती जी आक्रमणं झाली त्या आक्रमणानंतर काश्मीरचं जे डेमोग्राफिक्स आहेत ते चेंज झाले. ब्रिटिश आणि शिखांच्या तहामध्ये सुद्धा काश्मीरवरती महाराज रणबीर सिंग यांचे पौत्र असे महाराज हरिसिंह यांचं राज्य होतं, संस्थान होतं. आणि त्यावेळेला जेव्हा 1947 साली जेव्हा काश्मीर कुठे जाणार, भारतामध्ये राहणार की पाकिस्तानकडे जाणार की वेगळं राहणार वगैरे, हा सगळा प्रश्न तेव्हा गुंतागुंतीचा व्हायला लागला. पाकिस्तानने आक्रमण केलं, भारताने त्यांचं संरक्षण करण्याचं हमीपत्र दिलं आणि त्याच वेळेला भारतीय संविधानामध्ये, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनमध्ये आर्टिकल 370चा जन्म झाला. आर्टिकल 370 म्हणजे टेम्पररी प्रोव्हिजनल स्टेटस जे त्यांना मिळालं, तर त्या आर्टिकलनुसार काश्मीरच्या जनतेला बरेच काही विशेष अधिकार प्राप्त झाले आणि काश्मीरवरती जे राज्यकर्ते शेख अब्दुल्ला म्हणून जे राज्य करणार होते, तर त्यांच्याकडे काही विशेष अधिकार गेले. अर्थात ते टेम्पररीच होते, परंतु गेली 70-75 वर्ष त्याला कोणी हात लावला नाही. अंटील 2019 त्याच्यावरती मोदी सरकार जेव्हा आत्ताचं जे आलं विद्यमान, त्यांनी त्या सरकारने टेम्पररी प्रोव्हिजन्स ते रिमूव्ह केल्या आणि आर्टिकल 370 हा अत्यंत चर्चेचा विषय बनला. तर त्याच्याबद्दल आपण आज जाणून घेणार आहोत. आज ही माहिती देण्यासाठी आपल्याकडे शिकागोचे आपले इतिहास मंचावरचे अत्यंत लाडके असे वक्ते लाभलेले आहेत. त्याचं कारण काय की आतापर्यंत रेकॉर्ड ब्रेकिंग त्यांनी आपल्याकडे व्याख्यानं दिलेली आहेत, सर्व यशस्वी झालेली आहेत, लोकांमध्ये खूप चर्चा आहे आणि त्याबद्दल मी झंकार गडकरी यांचं मनापासून स्वागत करतो. झंकारजी, तुमचं इथे स्वागत आहे. आणि आत्ता गणेशोत्सवाच्या आपल्या कार्यक्रमामध्ये झंकारजींची प्रत्यक्ष भेट झाली आणि त्यांनी अगदी आवर्जून उपस्थिती लावली आणि त्यामुळे खरंच सगळ्यांना कृतकृत्य वाटलं. अनेक मंडळींना त्यांना प्रत्यक्षात भेटण्याची इच्छा पण होती, तर ती पूर्ण केली आणि त्याबद्दल खूप धन्यवाद. मी माधवदादा गुगावलेंना विनंती करतो की झंकारजींची त्यांनी आपल्या मंचावरील सदस्यांसाठी ओळख करून द्या. धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद चेतन. नमस्कार मंडळी. मी माधव गोगावले. चेतननी सांगितल्याप्रमाणे झंकारजी यांनी 5-6 आपल्या इतिहास मंचावर कार्यक्रम केले आहेत. तर मी महाराष्ट्र मंडळ शिकागो इतिहास मंचाच्या वतीने आपल्या सर्वांचे या मंचावर स्वागत करतो आणि विशेषतः झंकारजी यांचेही. त्यांची ओळख आतापर्यंत मी करून दिलेली, आपल्यापैकी काही नवीन आहेत त्यांच्यासाठी मी परत सांगतो. झंकारजी हे खरे औद्योगिक क्षेत्रातील एक प्रशिक्षक आहेत. मोठमोठे उद्योजक व त्यांच्या सहकारी किंवा कामगारांना उत्तेजनात्मक शिक्षण ते देतात. कामगारांचे मनोबल, त्यांची मानसिक अवस्था यांचा आलेख करून ते मानवी शक्ती वाढवण्यासाठी प्रशिक्षण देतात आणि त्यांची उत्पादन क्षमता वाढविणे किंवा नेतृत्व विकास करणे या प्रकारचे याच्यामध्ये ते तज्ज्ञ आहेत. आणि ते सरकार पुरस्कृत परीक्षेत म्हणजे सर्टिफाईड अँड ॲक्रिडेटेड कोच अँड काउन्सिलर आहेत. व्यवसाय उद्योगाचे कायदे व या विषयावर त्यांनी आपली पदवी MSc आणि PhD केलेली आहे. त्याचबरोबर त्यांनी भारतात, युरोपमध्ये आणि अमेरिकेमध्ये अनेक व्याख्यानं दिलेली आहेत. त्याच्यामध्ये विशेषतः त्यांचं फ्लोरिडामध्ये एक झालं होतं बिलियनर्स क्लबमध्ये. त्यांचं ते व्याख्यान खूप गाजलं होतं. व्याख्यानपेक्षा त्यांचं शिबिर होतं ते सगळं त्या बिलियनरसाठी फार गाजलं. हे त्यांचा व्यावसायिकपणा झाला. पण त्याच्याबरोबर आपल्या मराठीत म्हणतात ना, एक हौशेला काही किंमत नसते. त्यांचा एक छंद आणि एक इतिहासाची आवड, त्यासाठी ते इतिहासाचाही अभ्यास करतात. इतिहासाचा अभ्यास करण्यापेक्षा ते स्वतः ज्या ठिकाणी आपण पाहिलं आतापर्यंत त्यांचे जवळ 6-7 लेक्चर्स आपण ऐकली, तर असं अपरिचित माहिती ते गोळा करतात. आय डोंट नो हाऊ ही डज, पण ते जातात, लोकांना भेटतात आणि जे काय आतापर्यंत पब्लिश झालं नाही अशा गोष्टीची ते कुशलतेने अभ्यास करतात आणि त्या आपल्या समोर मांडतात. खरोखर त्यांचं अगदी हे वाखण्यासारखं आहे. त्यांनी काही पुस्तकं लिहिली, त्याचप्रमाणे बरीच व्याख्यानं पण दिलेली आहेत. आणि दुसरं म्हणजे केवळ व्याख्यानं किंवा इतिहासावर बोलणं हेच नाही, तर ते एक समाजसेवक आहे. त्यांनी थ्रू काही कॉलेजेस, हायस्कूल काढण्यामध्ये काही मदत केलेली आहे. त्याचप्रमाणे ते लायन्स क्लबचे मेंबर आहेत. त्याच्या थ्रू ते मानवी अन्न, वस्त्र, निवारा हे ज्या काही 3 गोष्टी असतात त्या गरजूंना कशा द्यायच्या याच्यावरही ते नेहमी काम करत असतात. त्याचप्रमाणे आपण पाहिलं त्यांनी पुस्तकं किंवा खास अपरिचित माहिती असलेले बरेचसे आपण पाहिले. तर मी आता जास्त वेळ न घेता त्यांना मी विनंती करतो की ह्या सूत्राची या व्याख्यानाची सूत्रे आपल्या हाती घ्यावी. झंकरजी, गो अहेड.
नमस्कार नमस्कार माधवराव, नमस्कार चेतन आणि बाकी इतर सर्व मंडळी. बरीचशी मंडळी परवा तुमच्या गणपतीच्या कार्यक्रमाला आलो होतो, त्यावेळेस माझी भेट झाली आणि बरं वाटलं, खऱ्या अर्थाने बरं वाटलं. कारण आपण जे लहानांच्या पडद्यावरती बघतो, पडदा म्हणण्यापेक्षा लहानच्या स्क्वेअर मध्ये बघत असतो एकमेकांना, त्याच्याऐवजी प्रत्यक्षात माणसाची भेट होणं आणि तुम्ही ज्या पद्धतीने स्वागत झालं, I was very touched. So take my gratitude to the entire मंडळ आणि ऑर्गनायझिंग कमिटी. मला हे दिसत होतं की चेतन सारखी किंवा माधवराव सारखी मंडळी अतिशय थकलेली होती आणि मी हे मुद्दाम चेतनला बोलूनही दाखवले की म्हणजे तुम्ही थकलेले वाटतात आणि आय कुड अंडरस्टँड. कारण ह्या देशामध्ये तुम्हाला स्वतःची कामं स्वतःलाच करायला लागतात आणि टू ऑर्गनाइज सच अ बिग इव्हेंट विथ पीपल क्लोज टू 600 अटेंडिंग is not a mean achievement. So congratulations to you all, the organizing committee and the entire set of Maharashtra Mandal of Chicago, for the great work that you people are doing and holding on to the cultural ethos, holding on to the cultural values. म्हणजे पुढची जी पिढी येईल त्यांच्याकडे काही ना काहीतरी आपण देतो आहोत, ह्या जाणीवेने तुम्ही करताय. दॅट इज व्हेरी व्हेरी. बरं, आता विषयाकडे वळूया. विषय आहे Article 370 with special reference to Kashmir. विषय अतिशय चढाओढीचा आहे, डिबेटेबल आहे. माझा हेतू आजचा जे तुमच्याशी जो संपर्क आहे त्या संपर्कामध्ये माझा हेतू कुठल्याही परिस्थितीत माझी मतं तुमच्यासमोर ठेवायची नाही. मला त्यावेळीची परिस्थिती काय होती, वस्तुस्थिती काय होती, हे जे चेतननी जे नाव एक कॉइन केलं, ती वस्तू त्यावेळची परिस्थिती काय होती आणि ती तुमच्या समोर ठेवायची. आणि ज्या दिवशी तुम्हाला ती परिस्थिती कळेल त्यावेळेला यू हॅव अंडरस्टूड द फाउंडेशन ऑफ द होल स्टोरी. तोपर्यंत आपण वरवरच्या गप्पा मारतो आणि फक्त आर्टिकल 370 बद्दल काय असेल ती वाचित करतो. बरी वाईट त्याबद्दल मला काही म्हणायचं नाही. द फॅक्ट इज that if we do not understand the foundation of any given area, then we tend to take a view which may not be fair, neither it would be appropriate. So I always believe in one tagline which is created by me, and that is awareness creates appreciation, and appreciation prevents abuse. So that तोपर्यंत तुम्हाला त्या परिस्थितीचा अवेअरनेस होत नाही तोपर्यंत यू नेव्हर बी एबल टू अप्रिशिएट दॅट. मग मला पॉलिटिकलाइज केलं जातं, कोणतरी काहीतरी सांगत असतं, तुम्ही त्याच्यावरती विश्वास ठेवता. मुळात परिस्थिती समजून घ्या. दॅट विल प्रिव्हेंट अब्यूज ऑफ द गिव्हन सिच्युएशन. सो लेट अस गेट ऑन विथ दिस ASAP. आपला चेतन, आय एम शेअरिंग द स्क्रीन. आय वुड लाईक युअर कन्फर्मेशन ऑन दॅट. कॅन यू सी दिस?
हो, दिसतंय.
थोडंसं वर खाली करायला प्रयत्न करतो, म्हणजे आय विल बी व्हेरी कम्फर्टेबल गोइंग ऑन विथ दिस. होतंय? दिसतंय?
हो,
ठीक आहे. So ladies and gentlemen from US, especially from Chicago, welcome to the new outlook of Article 370. And as I said, my tagline is only facts, no debate. Our idea today is only to share the facts. Debate, we can leave it for the later part of it, or we can have it in our private dining rooms or maybe over a glass of wine. So at this very moment, आपण काय करतोय तर फक्त त्यावेळची परिस्थिती जाणून घेण्याचा प्रयत्न करतोय. So I will be taking you through a different course, and the approach is going to be completely different. It is not going to directly hit upon 15 ऑगस्ट 1947 साली जे काय घडलं ते का घडलं, कसं घडलं आणि कुठल्या परिस्थितीत घडलं, किती लगबगीने घडलं गेलं याची तुम्हाला जाणीव देणं मला फार महत्वाचं वाटतं. कारण हा आपला देश हा एकच आहे भारत म्हणून, हू हॅज गॉट फ्रीडम एट मिडनाईट. नोबडी गेव अ थॉट टू द फॅक्ट की अरे आपल्या देशाचं स्वातंत्र्य दिन हा रात्री 12 वाजता का, त्याबद्दलची कोणी कल्पना दिलीच नाही कोणाला, किंवा त्याबद्दल कोणी प्रश्नही विचारले नाही. सो वी विल डील विथ ऑल दिस थिंग थ्रू दिस एंटायर presentation. And once you are aware of this entire paristity or situation that was prevailing in that point in time, you would probably appreciate as to why somebody has taken a decision, why things went the way they went, and how we have been affected by that. 70 years, my friend. A decision by somebody has embroiled this country for 70 years and it has not stopped, if you ask me. त्याच्यानंतर जी वाताहत झालेली आहे लोकांची by a sheer decision or indecisiveness, whatever you may put it as, has contributed to such kind of turmoil for various families. Thousands and lakhs of people were affected by this. So here is Article 70, 370, and how did it evolve and how did it get abrogated? We are going to discuss that. But before which, understand the paristity or the situation that was prevailing at that time. So we are speaking about 15th of August, 1947. I need not emphasize to my Indian brothers and sisters that 15th of August is the Independence Day of India. And how did it come about? हे independence मिळालं म्हणजे झगडा तर चालूच होता. There was movement was on. Many people laid their lives on. Many people suffered a lot. There were leaders and martyrs which were produced by the end of the day. But yes, at some point in time, Britain also had accepted the fact that it is high time we give back the power back to the Indians. So that decision was passed in the Parliament, the British Parliament. And त्याची परिस्थिती अशी झाली होती, महायुद्ध number 2, World War II, had just about ended in 1945. And this is a photograph that I want to make you understand. It will have a little significance by the end of this day, because this is exactly what Madhav Rao says. You need to find out the unknown facts and put it across to people. And why are those influencing factors? So on 2nd of September 1945, World War II by then had ended. And this is a formal ceremony of surrender, which happened on board USS Missouri, which was in the docks or in the Bay of Japan. And it was signed by General Douglas MacArthur and the Japanese Foreign Minister, Mamoru. So this is a very, very famous photograph. So understand the situation. We are talking about freedom. We're talking about independence. We're talking about human rights. ही परिस्थिती जगात चाललेली आहे. आणि त्यावेळेला भारत हा गुलामगिरीमध्ये. So naturally there was a global pressure coming on the Britain to decolonize their colonies. And one of the prime colonies of Britain at that point was India. 1945 is the situation. It's almost the end of 1945. In 1946, many may not know, but there was a naval uprising in Mumbai. It is known as the mutiny by the naval cadres, which happened between 18th and 25th of February 1946. Look, we are edging towards 1947. So अशा सगळ्या गोष्टी होत होत्या. World War II had ended. Surrender happened. In India, within India, in Mumbai in particular, mutiny by the naval cadres happened. And it was the biggest threat that when the armed forces started rebelling within the within itself, then the government or the authorities need to take a very serious note about it. So this is the situation which was leading towards it. No doubt about it, that there were several freedom fighters and people who were politicalizing the whole story, were moving towards the independence of India. Negotiations were on, talks were on. Britain, the Parliament of Britain had also decided to give independence to India. And as a result of which, this interim government was formed on 1st of September 1946. Understand this. February मध्ये आपल्याकडे Naval Uprising होता आणि 1 सप्टेंबर 1946 साली interim गव्हर्नमेंटची स्थापना होती. आणि तुम्ही जर तुम्ही पाहाल तर तुम्हाला सगळीच अशी जवळची माणसं दिसतील, except for Mahatma Gandhi, because he never participated in any political debates or any political meetings. He had his own status and his own iconic figure that he used it and his own aura towards achieving independence. But here is the situation. Here is what I want to share with you, is the formation of the interim government, which happened on the 1st of September 1946. You can see Subhash Chandra Bose, Jajivan Ramji, Rajendra Prasad, and so on and so forth. Vallabhbhai Patel, one of the iconic figures and an Iron Man of India. And this is which everybody needs to make a note of it. Very important. So when Britain and the government of England took a decision that freedom and independence should be given to India, or the power should be handed over to the Indians, for the Indian land, they deputed very purposefully, very consciously, very intentionally, one equally influential gentleman called Lord Mountbatten. त्यांनी मुद्दाम त्यांची नियुक्ती ह्याच करता केली होती की तुम्ही भारतात जा आणि ट्रान्सफर ऑफ पॉवर करून या. And that's where the Muslim League was also pressurizing for a separate state. We are all aware of it. So Lord Mountbatten and Lady Edwina arrives in India, is received by Liaquat Ali Khan, who was the first Prime Minister of Pakistan. By this time, Pakistan had not formed. And Pandit Nehru. I'm very specifically wanting you to make a note of these dates, at least mentally. We are talking about 22nd of March, 1947. Lord Wavell, who was there presently in India, was recalled back to India. Here is a photograph. Okay. And हा माणूस 22 मार्चला येतो आणि 2 मार्च जूनला मार्च एप्रिल मे जून लक्षात घ्या 2 महिन्यामध्ये he starts moving very fast and he starts getting meetings after meetings with the leadership of India. And this is a very famous, probably the last meeting before certain important decisions were taken. That happened on the 2nd of June, 1947. जवळजवळ 2 महिन्यानंतर ही मंडळी भेटली. म्हणण्यापेक्षा भेट चालू नसते, but this is one of the important meetings that this meeting decided the fate of this nation. And how? Lord Mountbatten declared the partition also and announced the date of independence. Lakshya gya, please understand this, how important it is. It is very easy for me to say something. But this man is deputed. This man is purposefully, consciously deputed to come to India, to hand over the power to the Indian leadership. He comes some time ago, and on the 2nd of June, 1947, he has his final meeting with the leadership of both the would-be countries, that is Pakistan and India, and he makes 2 important announcements. What are those announcements? He announces the partitioning of the subcontinent. And the second announcement is he announces the date when he would transfer the powers or give the independence to these 2 countries. तारीख आहे 2 जून 1947. And in the press conference which followed, the press or the correspondent asked him, you talked about all these things, you talked about independence of India, you talked about partitioning, you talked about all these things. I want specific dates. To me, given. And it is also said that even Lord Mountbatten did not know why and what and how he said something. And he just blurted out 15th of August, 1947. 2nd of June, 2nd of July, and 2nd of August, 2 महिने आणि साधारणपणे 2.5 महिने. The day he announces this, and he only gives 2.5 months, not even 3 months, to partition the subcontinent. To partition the subcontinent. No planning, no backup was by then created to partition the subcontinent. No surveys. सर्वे करायला वेळच नाही. सर्वे करायला वेळच नाहीये. असं अख्खा देश विभंगला जातो त्याच्याकरता तेवढी मोठी एक्सरसाइज असते. तर हे सांगायचं म्हणजे एवढंच की 2.5 महिन्यामध्ये त्यांनी डेट डिक्लेअर केली आणि पार्टिशन पण डिक्लेअर. माउंटबॅटनची ब्रीफ काय होती तुम्हाला सांगणं गरजेचं आहे की त्याला हे सांगितलं गेलं होतं की तू भारतात जा आणि तेव्हा तरी जूनच्या सुमारास 1948 साली a year later, you can warm up, you can understand the culture, you can understand the politics over there. And then we are looking at the independence of India happening sometime in June of 1947. So he was given close to 15 months. And that is why when he came on the when he announces on the 2nd of June, 15th of August, everybody was surprised and stunned. When somebody asked him, why did he do that later on? Because these are interviews which are post all these things. And he said it was a very special date for me. And what was a special date? And he was one of the commanding persons in the Southeast Asia during World War II. And on 15th of August, in 1945, very important date for him. 15th of August was very important, but the date was 1945. It was Hirohito. Emperor Hirohito of Japan accepts the surrender as a radio broadcast. For the first time, the Japanese populace listens on the radio the voice of Emperor Hirohito. And they were they're very committed people. And they are very loyal people towards the royalty of that nation. And Kani Ekda Sangitla, that's the time when everybody accepts the fact that we can accept surrender. And then those things happen of formalizing on the USS Missouri by General MacArthur. But here is a situation where on the 15th of August, Hirohito comes on the radio and announces that Japan surrenders to America. And to him, that was an important day. And somewhere down the line, unconsciously, he said it that it was always reeling in his mind. And take she just blurts out 15th of August. Why don't you take it back? He said, no, I've said it. It's my word and I'm going to go ahead with it. It was close to impossible to do all these things, considering the fact that the timelines were just about. Okay. Here, this is Emperor Hirohito giving a surrender speech on 15th of August 1945. This unique radio speech in which the Japanese people for the first time heard the voice of the divine. This is a photograph, an actual photograph. So I just want to make it more pictorial, which will make it quite interesting more than just talking to you. And who does the partitioning? Who does the partitioning? Important part. Who does the partitioning? And how the partitioning can happen? The moment this decision was taken on 2nd of June 1947, he calls for Sir Cyril Ratcliffe. As a matter of fact, the entire line between India and Pakistan and the line which has been drawn, which is partitioning East Pakistan, which is today's Bangladesh, that line is known as Ratcliffe line. This gentleman had never visited India. So that was his biggest qualification. Because he could not be biased. He could not be prejudiced. He what was done was he was given tons of maps and he was solicited in a bungalow in New Delhi and he was asked to work on that. To divide his subcontinent. His only qualification, as everybody said, was that he was one person who never visited India. So there was no bias. So he arrives in Delhi on 8th of July, 1947. Actually speaking, June, July, August, was divided. Right or wrong? Different story. We don't want to get there. No debates. And the Great Divide happened. We don't want to talk about the Great Divide, but yes, everything had to be divided proportionally, which included the currency notes, the chairs, even talking about the government properties, the grains, the arms, the ammunition, the staff car, and so on and so forth, including the presidential buggy that we are used to seeing the president coming on every 26th of Jan as a Republic Day. So this is the presidential buggy which had gold lining, and there were 6 presidential buggies which had silver lining. One of the Indian majors was supposed to do that, and he just tosses the coin in front of 2 representatives coming from India and Pakistan, whoever won it. So the Indian representative says heads, and turns out to be head, and that is how the presidential buggy came to India. I'm just giving you a small trivia, but there were so many such stories that we can talk about. Today's purpose is completely different, so I'm not moving in that. So the division comprised of as much as currency notes and mirrors and typewriters and whatnot. Many things. It was a very critical and it's cut of the job. And people were fighting over the fact that right proportion was not given. And it was available. So less time, humongous amount of work. The situation at that point, ज्यावेळेस भारताला इंडिपेंडन्स ची ज्याला अनाउन्समेंट झाली गेली 2 जूनला, त्याला भारताची परिस्थिती काय, भारतात नक्की काय होत, आपण संस्थानिकांच्या गप्पा, आपण राजे राजवाड्यांच्या गप्पा, we talk about the Maharajas of India. At that point, ladies and gentlemen, India had 565 Raje, Maharaje and Sansthanik. 565. It's not a mean achievement. As a result of which, India was known as the land of Maharajas. As a, to take it further, if you ask me, the national carrier of India, Air India, has Maharaja as a mascot. And if you see it, when you go on the aircraft, you'll find Maharaja's photograph welcoming you. This is how this land was known as. It was known as land of Maharajas. So what was the state of affairs at that time? The situation of nations within a nation. So one part of India was owned and under complete control of the Maharajas. And one part of India was under complete control of British India or the British. The part of India which had Maharajas had a British resident being appointed as a collector of taxes. The IS or ICS officer in those days, which is turned into IS today, was a collector of taxes, and that is why he was known as collector. Revenue. And British government. So every Maharaja, so there were 565 collectors. So with Lagan cinema, collector. So पैसे येत असतो त्या माणसाकडे दर महिन्याला दर वर्षाला जे काय असते ते. And all that he had to do was manage the kingdom of that small Maharaja and see that there was peace and tranquility, and he would represent British. But at the same time, Maharaja had a complete ownership of that land. So similarly, there were 565 independent princely states, and there was another set of the Indian province, which was governed by the British Crown. And how much was that? Almost 50%. 48% of India was Maharajas and 52% of India was British. The population of princely state was 28%, and that of British India was 72%. For example, Mumbai was a British India. Mumbai was not a land of Maharaja. Delhi was British India. Delhi did not belong to any Maharaja. Whereas if you went to Kolhapur, it was Sansthanik. It was a land of Maharaja, completely independent, and he had no reason to say that you can govern us or not, because he was the Maharaja, he was the ruler of that small little state, however big or small it is, but he had a complete control over that. Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta were British India and not princely states. Just for your information and better clarity, Kolhapur, Savantwadi, Satara, Kapurthala, and many more, 565. Legally, my friends, these princely states were not a part of British India at all. They were independent states. And they were subordinates and in alliance with British Crown, and hence they were called princes. In no record of British history, they were ever termed as Maharajas. They were always termed as princes. They were known as princely states. Why? Because nobody could be a king. There could be only one king and one queen, and that is King and Queen of England. And that is why they always had a status of being called as a princess. Not only that, but they were not even allowed to wear a crown. They were turbans. See any Maharajas, you'll find him wearing a turban. He wore a jewelry kind of a thing, which is known as serpage. So that's a different dimension to all this thing, but suffices to tell you that the situation of India around August 1947 was a nation within a nation, or nations within a nation. 565 nations within a huge subcontinent. You can term it as nation. And this is what the map of India looked like. The brown that you see indicates the British area. The brown that you see indicates the British area. The green that you see indicates the British area now gone to Pakistan. This would have been India. If not a single Maharaja of 565 were to take into account the Accession Treaty, which was close to forcing down their throats what Vallabhbhai Patel did, India would have looked like this in a very checkered form. India would have looked like what you see, which is a brown part. हे तुम्हाला असा भारताचा नक्षा काढायला लागला असतं ते. आणि हा जो पांढरा नक्षा दिसतोय नटाचा दिसतोय हे सगळे संस्थान, हे सगळे संस्थान ते पाकिस्तानमध्ये पण होते, काश्मीरात होतेच होते वगैरे. This is what the situation was. Now, what is the biggest challenge? What is the kind of time? 2.5 months. The biggest challenge is to go from Maharaja to Sansthan to Sansthan and either request them or force them to join the Union of India. And that is why it was known as putting as many apples in the basket as you can. That was the instruction given to Vallabhbhai Patel by Mountbatten. He said, go and get as many apples and put them in the baskets. That will only will be the surviving aspect for India, because India cannot be given to you the way we want to give it to you, because we have control over only the brown area. And that is exactly what Vallabhbhai Patel did, along with one of his very, very effective secretary, who was actually the first secretary of Mahatma Jawaharlal Nehru, V.P. Menon. So, an act was passed in 1947, which is known as the Mountbatten Plan. And I would like to read this verbatim. Provide for the lapse of paramountcy of British Crown over the Indian states. First thing, for better clarity, the act was passed saying that the government of England, do not have any right over these small and big princely states. That was the first thing. So the Maharajas were independent. There were no British residents henceforth, and they were independent to rule that region. Wow. Each of these rulers were given an option to accede to the newly born dominion of India or France. They were given a choice. तुम्हाला भारतात जॉईन करायचं तर जॉईन करा, पाकिस्तानमध्ये जॉईन करायचं तर जॉईन करा, इंडिपेंडंट राहायचं तर इंडिपेंडंट. कोणी तुम्हाला अडवू शकत नाही, because that is your right. So this is the Mountbatten Plan. Okay. Some details of the instrument of accession and the lapse of paramountcy provided for that. एक instrument of accession म्हणजे थोडक्यात एक कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट की बाबा मी तुमच्याशी I am a part and parcel of your region, or a part and parcel of your government. All the princely states will accede on 3 matters. 3 matters मध्ये we will be taking care of it: defense, foreign affairs, and communication. बाकीच्या गोष्टी तुमच्या तुम्ही बघा. Okay. They were also invited to form their own constitution assembly. प्रत्येक महाराजाला सांगितलं गेलं होतं की तुझ्या राज्याकरता तू तुझं एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन फॉर्म कर, आणि you should also form a committee which is going to be governing the constitution and overlooking the constitution. In other words, a small thing is there could be a constitution for the state of Kolkata. He was given that choice. तुम्हाला करायचं ते करा. Okay. They were also told to form some committees of that nature. Most of these people did not do it. Or they were also given a choice, failing which you can accept the Indian Constitution. Most of the 50 states said we are okay with the Indian Constitution, and most of the Sansthanik decided that they would like to be a part of India. असं करत आपण जेवढी माणसं घेता आली तेवढी आपण घेतली, आणि 565 मंडळी एकत्र आणणं, who are having the right of their independent state, is not a joke. What must have gone through the minds of these 2 people, I do not know. Many people voluntarily came and said we would like to join the part of India. Many people did not. And let's talk about those exceptions. Filling up the basket of apple, as I said. Patel's effort got control of thousands of villages. It's not a simple joke. No wonder this is called an Iron Man of India. Very corrupt, very stoic, very, very determined, very, very gritty. Thousands of villages, Jahangir's palaces, institutions, cash balances amounting to crores, and railway system of over 12,000 miles, because these people own this railway system. How do you form the networking of it? Just imagine you are in the checkered India and then you want to pass from one place to the other, you have to take permission of that Maharaja. And complexities, okay, to the Indian government without receiving a single compensation. Apop Mandayali. The basket was full of 500 plus apples, except a few on the 15th of August, 1947. He Paristiti Travachini. Who were the few rebels? The rebels were Travancore. The Maharaja of Travancore, who was kind of governed by his Diwan, CP, he was known as CP. He decided to go independent on 11th of June, 1947. I'm giving you these dates again and again because we must have a reference point of 15th of August, 1947, which is the night of independence. An attempt was made on Sir CP, Haberlap of Granstein, and he said, okay, here I am. At the time, nationalism was also rife in all over India, whether it was a princely state or whether it was British India. It was rife everywhere. So, ह्या प्रकारच्या गोष्टी होणारच होत्या. तर त्याच्यावरती एक अटेम्प्ट केला गेला. त्या माणसांनी त्याच्या महाराजाला सांगितलं की बाबा रे तू सही करून मोकळा हो, आपण त्याच्यावरती मारा करू, आपण भारताशी निवेदन. जोधपूरच्या महाराजांनी तर तो जिन्नाला भेटायला गेला. तुम्हाला ह्या गोष्टी खऱ्या गोष्टी झालेल्या. आणि ही सेड टू जिन्ना की आय वुड लाईक टू जॉईन. आता जोधपूरचं तुम्ही पोझिशन बघाल तर राजस्थान मधली इट इज ऑन द बॉर्डर लाईन क्लोज टू जैसलमेर. And he had ideas that he would like to have a railway line towards Karachi and establish commerce and trade and business. So he decided to go to Pakistan. He met Jinnah, it is on record. And Jinnah ने त्याच्या समोर एक blank कागद ठेवला आणि सांगितलं की तुला काय हवंय ते डिमांड्स मला दे. I will accept it. जोधपूरच्या महाराजांनी सांगितलं की let me go back and check with my people and I'll come back to you. And that was one which really spoiled the whole relationship between him and Jinnah. And he said, no, I'm not going to give you any more. And that is how Jodhpur remained where it was. Parantu, when VP men went with that instrument of accession or contract or some such document which would enumerate the accession of this princely state to India, this man got mad. It's a story. This man got mad and he pistol to his temples and he threatened him with death. And that pistol was concealed in his pen. He had that made, especially a long time ago. These people had eccentricities and he would get that kind of money where he could make and manufacture all kinds of things. So, well, anyway, the story is short that eventually Mountbatten had to intervene and he signed the instrument of accession. So he gifted a pen pistol to Mountbatten, which was eventually auctioned for £7,000 in England. And these are some small trivias for you to go home and talk to your children about. Junagadh, Maharaja of Junagadh was also not in favor of joining India. Maharaja of Junagadh had in fact joined Pakistan. He made it very, very abundant that I would like to join Pakistan. But the situation was different. 80% of the Hindu population resided in Junagadh. Nawab decides to accede to Pakistan on 1st of August, and on 15th of September, Pakistan accepts him. The Junagadh is a landlocked city. It's a very small little place, and it would be very difficult or impossible for him to be a part of Pakistan, but he wanted to. The people of Junagadh were very upset about it, and they rose in violence against him. And he left behind his diwan to negotiate with India, and his name was Sir Shah Nawaz Bhutto. And who is Sir Shah Nawaz Bhutto? He was the father of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. So Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was serving at the diwan of the Maharaja of Junagadh. And this man had eccentricities. He had multiple jobs. 300 काहीतरी like 2,000 कुत्रे होते, त्यांची लग्न काय करायचं आणि पार्टीज करायच्या कुत्र्यांच्या नावाने वगैरे. पण पैसे होते आणि वेडेपणा. I don't want to get much into it. This was Junagadh. Okay. Finally, everybody knows about Hyderabad. Hyderabad took a long time before before we could get him to be a part of India. Okay. And the area that he commanded was 80,000 square miles, which is a huge area. It's one of the huge small little kingdom of India, and it has a population of 16 million people staying there. 85% again were Hindus. They rebelled as usual, but then he unleashed the Razakars against the rebellions. And बऱ्याचशा प्रकारचे अत्याचार झाले त्यावेळेला. आणि when that was happening, it was the government of India, they were appealed upon की तुम्ही आम्हाला काहीतरी करा. And that is on 17th of September 1948, Operation Polo, which lasted for 4 days, took place, and after almost 13 months, Hyderabad became a part of India. So why I am giving you all this situation is that on the 15th of August, 1947, out of the 565 apples that could have filled up the apple basket, not all were a part of that basket. These were those exceptions. Lakshadweep. How many of us know that we almost went and occupied Lakshadweep when nobody said a word about it? These are the part of a huge archipelago of Maldives. Maldives, which is south of India, close to Trivandrum. This is little north of India, in the same Indian Ocean. So these were the two Indian brothers, Murlidhar brothers, who were instructed from Patel to leave Travancore and go and occupy and establish our claim on these small islands, which are few islands over there, they were established. So Lakshadweep islands also. So on the 15th night, 15th August, many people may know this story, but many people may not. India awakes as an independent nation. Nowhere in the world, ladies and gentlemen, nowhere in the world, not a single nation has ever got its independence on the midnight of a given day. Independence of a given nation is a huge ceremony. It's a huge ceremony. It's ceremonial. It needs a great amount of planning. It needs a great amount of grandeur and a showbiz that you may think about. This, of course, we had one, but this happened on the midnight of 15th of August. When and why? When on the 2nd of June, Mountbatten, out of the blue, declares that India is going to be independent on the 15th of August, 1947, the first thing that happened and comes to the Indian mind is that to divas shubha hai ka ashubha hai te to baga. So divas kasa hai? How auspicious is that day? And when they made the Kundali of Bharat, त्याच्यामध्ये तो दिवस शुभ नव्हता. तो दिवस शुभ नव्हता. मग आता काय करायचं? काहीतरी मार्ग काढतो. आपल्याकडे मार्ग काढण्याची पद्धत खूप आहे. तसा आपण एक मार्ग काढलेला आहे. सर्कमवेंटिंग द इंडियन वे. मार्ग काय? Technically, the English would accept anything after the midnight as a new day. Technically, everything after the midnight is a new day. So after the midnight of 14th of August, 0001, it is technically and rightfully so, it is 15th of August. That's the English way. The Indian way is the sunrise. Whenever the sun would rise on the 15th of August, let's say 6 o'clock in the morning, that is 15th of August. त्या मधला मार्ग होता. 15th of August पण झाला आणि सनराईजच्या आधी केला. आणि म्हणून we got freedom at midnight. And that is where this is the Kundali of Bharat. ज्यांना काय करत असेल ते सांगू शकतील, त्यांना म्हणता येईल की किती बरा होता दिवस, किती वाईट होता, मला त्यात काही जास्त कळत नाही. पण असं म्हणतात की तो दिवस अशुभ होता, त्यामुळे we had to circumvent. आणि नेहरूंचं हे अतिशय फेमस, अतिशय महत्वाचं, अतिशय नावाजलेलं असं त्यांचं एक भाषण आहे. आणि ही सेरेमनी इन द दरबार हॉल ऑफ राष्ट्रपती भवन, राजभवन म्हणतो आपण त्याला. आज त्याच्या आधी त्याला गव्हर्नर्स हाऊस असं म्हणत असत. पण आपल्याकडे ज्या राज्य आलं त्या दिवसापासून राष्ट्रपती तिथे राहायला गेले आणि शपथविधी वगैरे तिथे होता. नेहरूंचं अतिशय मोठं आणि सुंदर झालेलं भाषण ते म्हणजे, लॉंग इयर्स अगो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमॅन, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time has come when we should redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. And this is important. At the stroke of midnight hour, when the world sleeps, at the stroke of midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. This is no time for petty and destructive criticism. We have to build the mansion of noble India, where all her children will dwell. And on the stroke of midnight, he moved a motion, or rather a resolution, and he says, I beg to move, sir. And he addressed this to Mountbatten, because he was in general, that it be resolved that India be independent, etc., etc. And after the last stroke of midnight, all the members of Constituent Assembly present on that occasion will take the following pledge, which is nothing short of accepting the alliance and loyalty towards a new nation called India. So this is the freedom of movement. A beautiful book is written by Dominic Lapierre and Larry Collins. Please do read that. It's a very old book, close to 25 years old. But there is no better way of writing. It was a controversial book, but yes, barring the controversy, the book is very well researched. Please do pick up that copy, Freedom at Midnight by Dominic Lapierre and Larry Collins. One was a Frenchman and another was an American. It took an American and a French writer to write about the freedom of India. It is something which you need to take 10,000 times. So, on the 15th of August, 1947, India looked something like this. Look at this. You have Jodhpur, somewhere here, small thing. Kashmir. We are going to talk about that. Okay, but I'm giving you the background as to how situations change and how the influencing factor of Kashmir took place. Kashmir zala, Hyderabad, Adun decided nahi, Junagadh, Adun decided nahi, वगैरह. They are not, in fact, not decided. Our rights Accession, and we are independent. Okay. Now talk about the story of Jammu and Kashmir. Hari Singh was the king or the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir, which was a huge area. What you see today is something very small area. And he had been taken care of the Britishers by giving him a lot of honorifics. It was 86,000 square kilometers. Huge, huge. And 15 August he decided not to go either way, either to Pakistan or to India. He said, I am Azad. I do not need anybody. I will remain independent and do not force me to do so. When he was approached by the men and he was left alone. So on the 15th of August, 1947, Kashmir was not a part of India. Kashmir was not a part of India. Now, India became independent. Pakistan became independent the day prior to India, that is on 14th of August 1937, India at the midnight of 15th August 1947, and everything was going hunky-dory up until 22nd of October. And these are the two dates which decided the fate of this country and which actually haunted us for close to a century. Hari Singh was not decided about the accession to India or to Pakistan by 15th of August 1947. 22nd of October, August gela, September gela, and 22 October Pakistan plans a covert invasion of Kashmir. 5,000 Pakistani Lashkars, armed tribesmen invade Pakistan, Kashmir. Stories galore. Hari Singh was not prepared for this kind of invasion. He had an army, but that was limited. And he was to fight a newly born nation. And they were very determined people. On 24th of October, Maharaja Hari Singh offers to accede to India in return for immediate military assistance. He, in frenzy, he calls up Indian government, especially Nehru, and says, I am being attacked. I need some kind of assistance from you. India retorts by saying, on what grounds? You are not a part of India. And if we do that, we would have to ensure, or we would have to be labeled as the person who invaded or had a battle or a skirmish with Pakistani. And we are no more. I mean, you are an independent nation. So he accedes. He says, okay, I will accede to India. I will accede to India. He decides on 24th of October to accede to India. On 26th of October, these 5,000 tribals who were moving towards Srinagar, stopped short of Srinagar, almost 50 kilometers or 60 kilometers at Baramulla. जर त्यांनी त्या बारामुल्लाला जो स्टॉपवर घेतला नसता 26 ऑक्टोबरला, तर श्रीनगर would have been gone in the hands of this invading hordes of Pakistan. And why did they take that stopover in Baramulla? They took that stopover in Baramulla only to loot, molest, and rape people there, women there. And that they spent a day and a half doing so. 1.5 दिवस त्यांनी तिथे 26 तारखेला घालवले. आणि इन बिटवीन दॅट व्हीपी मेनननी 3-4 फेऱ्या केल्या, सही घेतली प्रमाणपत्रावरती, आणि 27 तारखेला भारतीय फौज श्रीनगरला उतरली आणि त्यांनी ह्या इन्व्हेडिंग ट्रायबल्सना हरवलं आणि त्यांना पाठीमागे ठेवलं. This is the story of Pakistan. This is the story of Kashmir to begin with. This is the instrument of accession signed on the 26th of October 1947 by Hari Singh, saying that I would like to be a part of India. When it became a part of India, India now had to defend its own land because Kashmir became Indian. Indian army was sent on 27th of October 1947, and the whole story was stopped. Now, this is the movement of the horse. तुम्हाला दिसत असेल इकडे बारामुल्लाला थांबले. जम्मू अँड काश्मीरचं श्रीनगर जवळजवळ 30 मैलावरती होतं किंवा 50-60 किलोमीटरवरती. आणि these are the photographs, actual photographs of those invading hordes. Okay. हे जर इकडनं हे थांबले नसते इथे 26 ऑक्टोबरला, ही मंडळी जम्मू अँड काश्मीरचा कॅपिटल घेऊन मोकळे झाले असते. You would have lost Kashmir. But what saved, and that is exactly where Madhav, we need to find out what happened and what was that destiny that made a difference to this entire invasion. This is what saved it. Not recorded in the history books, but Kashmir was saved because of the sacrifice of the nuns of Franciscan missionary of Mary. तिकडे भरपूर वेगवेगळ्या देशातल्या nuns होत्या. They were serving the Franciscan missionary. The wild Pathan hordes indulged in defiling the French, the Scottish, the Spanish, the Italian, and the Portuguese nuns in Baramulla on the night of 26th of October 1947. The tribals were just about 2 hours away from Srinagar, 35 minutes. किती वेळ लागतो? Belgian sister Mary Allure died of the wounds, and she said, "It's already ended. I offered my life to the conversion of Pakistan." She had her own story to talk about. This act could allow this act of these tribes and the unfortunate sacrifice of these nuns allowed the uninterrupted paratrooping and landing of Indian troops in Srinagar airport on 27th of October. If the tribals had taken over the whole of city of Srinagar, they would have definitely made the airport inoperable. We would have defended it as a different story, but it would not have been as easy as that. So this is something that we need to know as part and parcel of what happened during that point in time. This is a Sikh regiment which has landed on the 27th of October, and they are preparing to defend the land. Parallelly, I do not know if you are aware of it, parallelly, there was a province and the provincial governor of the Gilgit province. Gilgit province was kind of northwest of Kashmir, and I'll show the whole picture to make it more easy for you. And there was this Major William Brown, who was representing the British governor in those days, and also now he was looking into the affairs of Maharaja Hari Singh, who had his own governor, or Dogra governor, Ghanasir Singh. This man rebels in that region, Gilgit, Baltistan, and Hunza region. This is the place which this man, who is a British major, rebels and occupies that area by either killing the Maharaja's troops or arresting the governor of Maharaja, whose name was Ghanasar Singh. And he occupies that land and frees this land and gives the entire reign of this land to Pakistan. Because for some reason, he wrote a book on that. He wrote a book. The major who took over Gilgit and Baltistan, he wrote a book. It's a Bible. आणि त्याच्यात तो असं म्हणतो की मला दया आली की 99% मंडळी इकडची सगळी पाकिस्तानी होती. आय मीन मुसलमान होते आणि वाय शुड दे नॉट गो टू पाकिस्तान. परंतु तो प्रश्न याचे नव्हताच. The Indian subcontinent was subdivided on the religious ground much before this thing took place. If this Maharaja was to accede to India, probably Pakistan, I mean, Kashmir would have gone to Pakistan on the grounds of Muslim or the religious ground. But it didn't happen because he wanted to be a part and parcel of his own independent kingdom. But this man rebelled and he did that. And this is very, very important part which is known today as POK. And the one which has been occupied by the tribals, which were stopped at that particular point, is known as Azaz Kashmir. So the whole idea of showing that, I wanted to show you this. Well, anyway, let me tell the story better. So this is the last Dogra governor of the Maharaja who was arrested, and eventually I was told he was killed. I read somewhere he was killed by Major Brown, and Major Brown apparently got MBE. It's one of the high-ranking medals, which says Member of the Order of British Empire, for his bravery. How did it happen? Is a matter of your decision and my decision. So, on the 17th of November 1947, Major Brown, along with his scouts, Gilgit scouts as they were called, he raised the flag of Pakistan in Gilgit. This is the photograph of raising of the Pakistani flag in Gilgit. And they took over a huge region of Kashmir, now part of India, huge region. So, by September, October, November, what was happening is a portion of land of Kashmir went to the tribals who invade Kashmir as an independent state on the 22nd of October. This man, the next month, rebels, arrests the governor as appointed earlier by the King Hari Singh, and takes over another set of region, which is Gilgit and Hunza province and Baltistan province. So the stories have to be separated as POK and Azad Kashmir. But today the whole region is known as POK. For your information, I'm only giving you a better insight into understanding the whole story. Is Major Brown taking over the region, which is known as POK, and the tribal hordes taking over a part of Kashmir known as Azad Kashmir. This is the Hunza Valley. It is known that the women there are the most beautiful. That's why I thought it might give a little color to this presentation. These are the Hunza women. And they're very close to China. By the way, this is also a very close part of Ladakh and Leh, and it was a very completely Buddhist area. But as the Islamic hordes came in, and that is 1,000-year story, they converted the entire region into Islamic region. And but there are people who still follow Buddhism in Gilgit, Baltistan, and Hunza River Valley. And these are the typical photographs of them. They are known to be very, very beautiful looking women. So this is what it looked like. Now, if you can see my cursor, you will see this. This was the entire set of Kashmir. आपण या गोष्टीला अजूनही मान्यता देत नसल्यामुळे आपले जे मॅप्स किंवा आपले जे नकाशे आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये पाकिस्तानचा नकाशा जो पूर्वीपासून महाराजा हरिसिंगकडे होता त्यावेळेचा आहे. कळलं? त्यानंतर पाकिस्तान ऑक्युपाईड कशी गिलगिट आणि पाकिस्तान एरिया ही झाली, आणि ही जी खालची एरिया तुम्हाला जी दिसते that is occupied by the tribals. So that is known as Azad Kashmir. If you can see the red here, the green, complete green here. Over a period of time, the Chinese aggression happened, and then Accession went. And over a period of time, this area was given to Pakistan to China for whatever reasons we don't want to pay. Now, we need to understand that the entire line that is drawn from here all the way down south here is known as L the line of control which was breached by the Pakistani infiltrators now, and the huge Pakistan target war happened. So for a better understanding, better perspective, giving you the facts in a better way, without taking any bias, good, bad, and ugly, who would the decision, right or wrong. This is what I'm just placing it in front of you on the table. So this is for your better understanding. Gilgit, Baltistan area, Azad Kashmir area, Aksai Cheen, and the remaining part is the Kashmir, which is today under the Indian control. So, in effect, the old kingdom of Maharaja Hari Singh, which was known as Kashmir, is divided in three parts. A part of it is occupied by Pakistan, a part of it is occupied by China, and a part of it is occupied by India. It's the Indian territory. This is only for a better understanding. Let me also tell you one thing. You see this small little portion here? This portion, at one point, when Kashmir was a part of India, Kashmir was an independent country, and it could have been a part of the entire country to be a nation to be a part of India. This small little portion is a border of Afghanistan. ज्यावेळेला सिटिझनशिप ऍक्ट आला त्यावेळेला मायनॉरिटीजना आपण आश्रय देऊ आणि आपल्या नेबरिंग कंट्रीजच्या मायनॉरिटीजना आपण आश्रय देऊ असं त्या सिटिझनशिप ऍक्ट मध्ये लिहिलं होतं. आणि त्यामध्ये पाकिस्तानमध्ये मायनॉरिटीज, बांगलादेश मधल्या मायनॉरिटीज आणि नेपाळ मधल्या मायनॉरिटीज who were considered to be neighboring countries. And how do you define a neighboring country? Whoever or whichever country actually shares the border with your country. Now, nowhere in today's time, Afghanistan shares a border with India. Nowhere. Yet, the four countries which were included, three are logically right. The fourth one people question, and that is Afghanistan. Afghanistanचा काय संबंध आहे? त्याचा संबंध ह्या लहानशा 130 किलोमीटर बॉर्डरचा. हे तुम्हाला दाखवतो एवढ्या करता की लेट्स अस हॅव द फॅक्ट्स perfect in mind. This is a small border of Afghanistan. Let me take you back here. Here it is. You see this Afghanistan? You see this? It's 130 kilometers. By virtue of this technicality, they become my neighbor. Though, at this point in time, this region of POK is not under Indian control, but we claim it. So because we claim it, and because that claimant has a border, which is bordering Afghanistan, Afghanistan is my neighboring country. And that is how I will give them the privilege, as much as I would give the minority the privilege coming from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal. As simple as that. When we debate, let's understand the fact. Okay? This is the same thing which I told you. Today, the territory of the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir is now jointly administered by Pakistan, India, and China. That's simple. Rationale of 370. 370 rationale. ही पाठची भूमिका काय? हे बघणं गरजेचं आहे. हे बघणं फार गरजेचं आहे. ओके. आणि मी मुद्दाम तुम्हाला वाचून दाखवतो. 370 मध्ये दिलेले जे प्रिव्हिलेजेस जे आहेत की फक्त तिथल्याच मंडळींना लँड ओनिंग अथॉरिटी आहे. तिथलीच मंडळी त्यांना कुठलेही बाकीचे कायदे कानून त्यांना लागू पडणार नाही. हे जे 370 मध्ये लिहिलेले आहेत ते एकाएकी नाही झाले. लेट मी गिव्ह द बॅकग्राउंड. And I'm reading it. The people of Kashmir, the princely states, were the state subject. They were not the British subject. They were the subjects of the state of Kashmir, ruled by Hari Singh, a small population of Hindus, which is close to 5%. 95% of their subjects were Muslims. They were living happily ever after. All the Hindus in the valley, because Kashmir is a valley, were termed as Pandits. As a result, every Hindu is known as a Pandit. You must have seen Kashmir files, and that's how the Pandits were asked to be. Pandit means khare arthani Pandit. They were known as Pandits because they were actually intellectually better than the general population, and so People term them as conference. So the people of Kashmir, the princely states, were the state subject. They were not British. Internal political movement in the 20th century brought about the concept of hereditary state subject as a political identity of the people. Hereditary state subject. ते तिथलीच माणसं तिथेच राहू शकतील and they will enjoy the privilege. Hereditary state subjects. In particular, the Pandit community had launched a Kashmir for Kashmiris. Pandit community, when they were under the rule of Maharaja Hari Singh, had launched this movement, Kashmir for Kashmir. Movement demanding that only Kashmiris should be employed in the state government jobs. State government means princely state. Legal provisions for the recognition of the status were enacted by the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir between 1912 and 1930, not 1947 or post 1947. These were the accepted concepts and customs of state of Jammu and Kashmir, a princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. In 1927, ladies and gentlemen, the hereditary state subject order granted the state subjects the right to the government office and the right to land use and ownership. Only the state subject coming from Kashmir can use and own Kashmiri land, and which was not available for non-state subjects. This was a part of it. It became legalized. It became a part and parcel of the constitution, which governed the entire nation. The 370 gave special privileges. And in the argument, I want to read this because it's a very interesting speech by Jawaharlal Nehru. In the argument in 1952, around that time, he gave this speech. He says, but our friends from Kashmir, this is Jawaharlal Nehru's speech verbatim in the assembly. But our friends from Kashmir were very apprehensive about one or two matters. And what are those matters? For a long time, past in the Maharaja's time, there has been laws there preventing any outsider, that is, any person from outside Kashmir, from occupying and holding land in Kashmir. If I mention it, in the old days, the Maharaja was very much afraid of many Englishmen. That was the premises. That was the reason that he had formulated this rule. The Maharaja had formulated this particular custom and tradition based on the fear that he had. What was the fear? If I mention it, in the old days, the Maharaja was very much afraid of many Englishmen coming and settling down there because the climate is delectable and acquiring property is desirous. British local, you don't have to property and they would own it. So although most of their rights were taken away from the Maharajas under the British rule, the Maharaja stuck to this that nobody from outside should acquire land here, and that continues. So the present government of Kashmir is very anxious to preserve that right because they are afraid, and I think rightly afraid, that Kashmir would be overrun by people whose sole qualification might be the possession of too much money and nothing else, who might buy up and get a delectable place. So we agreed and noted this down. The state legislature shall have power to define and regulate the right and privileges of the permanent residents of the state, more especially in regards to the acquisition of immovable property, appointment to the services, and the like matters. Till then, the existing law, state law, should apply. Background of 370. And this is the accession of lapse of parliamentary, which I've read earlier. And this is the J&K's position, especially providing the privileges under Article 370. Jammu and Kashmir requested that only those provisions of Indian Constitution that corresponds to the original instrument of accession should be applied to the state. मगाशी आपण जे लॅप्स ऑफ पॅरामाउंटसी जे आपण मगाशी बोललो होतो त्याचा अर्थ काय की ब्रिटिशांनी ज्यावेळेला भारतीयांकडे जी गव्हर्नन्सची हाताळणी केली त्यावेळेला त्यांनी राहिलेले जे काही राजे राजवाडे होते, त्यांना फक्त एवढंच सांगितलं की बाबा रे, ह्याच्या पुढे आमचा तुमच्यावरती काही, वी डू नॉट हॅव एनी कंट्रोल ओव्हर यू अँड वी विल नॉट इंटरफिअर एनीमोर बिकॉज यू आर ऑन युअर ओन. यू डिसाइड व्हॉट यू वॉन्ट टू डू. तुम्हाला स्वतः राहायचंय, भारतात जायचंय, पाकिस्तानमध्ये जायचंय की इंडिपेंडन्स स्टेटमध्ये जायचंय. दिस वॉज बेसिकली द माउंटबॅटन प्लॅन दॅट आय टॉक टू यू अबाउट इट. सो दिस सेज द सेम थिंग. Jammu and Kashmir requested that only those provisions of Indian Constitution that corresponded to the original instrument of accession should be applied to this. In other words, की त्यांनी सांगितलं की तुम्ही आमच्यात आला तर आम्ही तुम्हाला ह्या 4 गोष्टींमध्ये मदत करू. तुम्ही तुमची कॉन्स्टिट्युएंट असेंब्ली तयार करा, तुम्ही तुमचं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन तयार करा, आम्ही तयार आहोत. सर्वांनी सांगितलं आम्हाला कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पण करायचं नाही, आम्हाला आमची कॉन्स्टिट्युएंट असेंब्ली पण करायची नाही, आम्हाला तुमचंच कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पाहिजे, वी आर अ पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. त्यामुळे प्रश्नच नव्हतो. जम्मू अँड काश्मीरने तेच सांगितलं की बाबा आम्हाला आमचं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पाहिजे. वी वॉन्ट टू हॅव आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, अदर्स मे नॉट वॉन्ट टू. वी वॉन्ट टू हॅव आवर ओन कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंब्ली. आणि दॅट्स व्हॉट दिस पर्टिक्युलर स्टेटमेंट मीन्स. अँड द स्टेट कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंब्ली वेन फॉर्म वुड डिसाइड ऑन द अदर. म्हणजे आमची ज्या वेळेला कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंब्ली आम्ही करू त्यावेळेला वी विल बी डिसाइडिंग ऑन द अदर. गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ऍग्री. ठीक आहे, तुम्ही म्हणता की ठीक आहे. So according to 370, accordingly 370 was incorporated. And नव्याने एक आर्टिकल त्याच्यामध्ये इन्कॉर्पोरेट केलं in the Indian Constitution for a special status to JN. Government of India will take prior concurrence of the state's constituent assembly for any change. तुम्हाला जर काही चेंजेस हवे असतील तुमच्या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मध्ये किंवा आमच्या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मध्ये आम्ही तुमची प्रायर परमिशन देऊ. कारण बघा तुम्ही बघण्यासारखी गोष्ट, परिस्थिती काय होती भारताची. Muslim population to the extent of 95%. Part of Pakistan, Kashmir has been already taken over by Pakistan, either by Major Brown's naughtiness or by the hordes coming from Pakistan. And Pakistan had come up with a plan for plebiscite. Plebiscite is nothing else but asking for referendum. They're asking for the general population to decide which country they want to be. And this plebiscite was to go to United Nations organization. They would have very hats off taken it because 99% of the people would have opted for Pakistan and Pakistan would have been. Somewhere down the line, as I think, it could have been very, very strategic move to give some special status and special merit to that place. As a result, Government of India will take prior concurrence of the state's constituent for any changes. And this was a temporary position. But I think this was a temporary position. Yes, the position temporary was ratified. However, the J&K State Constituent Assembly dissolved in 1957. There was a version it dissolved. The State Assembly did not recommend any abrogation or amendment to Article 370. 2 assemblies, एक Indian assembly, एक state assembly. Now it has become Indian state or state assembly. State assembly decide to have their constitution, and they had their constitution, they had their committee governing the constitution. 12 वर्षानंतर त्याच्यावरती कुठलाही निर्णय घेतला गेला नाही, which was a temporary. हे आपण 370 चालू ठेवायचा नाही ठेवायचा वगैरे. 12 वर्षानंतर the state assembly dissolves. Result of which the state assembly did not recommend any either abrogation or amendment to Article 370. ही होती तीच परिस्थिती, special rights वगैरे. Result of which Article 370 was considered to have become a permanent feature of the Indian Constitution. वो कालावधी जो ओरडा चालू होता की त्यांना स्पेशल स्टेटस का नको, why should it not be a part of India when it is a part of India, हा जो प्रकार चालू होता त्याचं कारण हे की स्टेट असेंब्लीकडे जो राईट होता तो त्यांनी एक्सरसाइज न केल्यामुळे हा दिस बिकेम अ परमनंट फीचर. आर्टिकल 370 चे नक्की काय म्हणायचं होतं, along with Article 35A, J&K residents live under a separate state of law. Not a single, ladies and gentlemen, Indian law will be made applicable to it. Relating to citizenship of Kashmir, ownership of property of within Kashmir, fundamental rights not applicable, separate flag. Kashmir had a separate flag as much as it had a separate constitution. separate constitution. Female residents could lose their permanent status if married out of the state. And this is the national flag of Kashmir. तुमच्या स्वतःच्याच एका राज्यामध्ये वेगळा flag आहे. They were given a special status that the governor or the governing body or the person who was the head of the governing body would not be termed as a chief minister, but he would be the prime minister of Kashmir. So these are the 5 prime ministers that I can identify for you. Meher Chand Mahajan, Sheikh Abdullah, Bakshi Muhammad Ghulam, Haja Samsuddin, Muhammad Ghulam Muhammad Siddiqui. Prime ministers. बऱ्याचशा गोष्टी झाल्या, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमॅन, बऱ्याचशा गोष्टी झाल्या. आणि स्पेशल स्टेटस द्यायची गरज कॉन्स्टिट्युएंट फार्मर्सना का वाटत होती? Special status has been given by Article 371 to various other parts of India also. So special status is not एक चुकीची गोष्ट आहे अशी नाही. Special status, there is a need for the special status. These are the 10 states I can talk to you about who have got a special status. They have a special status, ladies and gentlemen. Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Himachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, especially the tribal area, the hilly area. Development, divide of development, needs protection. Protecting from the riches of the outside world, protecting from the defilement of the nature. And a protect करण्याकरता special similar की मिझोरामचा माणूस जागा विकत घेऊ शकतो. तुम्हाला घेता येत नाही, तुम्ही भारतीय असलात तरी. हे लक्षात घेणं गरजेचं आहे. त्रिपुरा, उत्तराखंड. Reason the states need a special consideration. The features include hilly and very difficult terrain, low population and density, a sizable tribal population. If you are aware of the fact that there are special status given to the tribals, according to the Indian Constitution under Schedule 3, there is a special status given to certain castes who were deprived and underprivileged. That's again temporary. They were put in a schedule. They were put into a list as an annexure to the Constitution, and that list was known as a schedule. So all those castes which are put in a given schedule as for a special status, all those tribals which are put into a list with a special status or a schedule in a special status are today known as scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Scheduled caste, scheduled tribe is that term. It's a list of things. Are we clear on that? So it is a schedule which was created for special status for these 10 states. So strategic location, economic backwardness, to protect them. Again, idea is to protect economics. There should not be a supremacy of economics of the state of Maharashtra, for example. They can own the land and start doing their own things, which will disturb the tribal customs, which will disturb the ruling practices. Maharashtra can always overpower because it is rich state. Non-viable nature of the state finance. ही परिस्थिती असल्यामुळे स्पेशल स्टेटस जे आपण म्हणतो त्यावेळेला काश्मीरला तो दिला गेला बिकॉज देर वॉज अ रेनिंग ट्रॅडिशन फ्रॉम द महाराजा's टाइम की आमची माणसं आमच्याकडे काश्मीर फॉर काश्मीरी हे पंडितांनी म्हटलं. काश्मीर फाइल स्पीक्स डिफरंटली, नॉट इट इज रॉंग. पण त्यानंतर काश्मीरमध्ये पाकिस्ताननी ज्या ज्या परिस्थिती ज्या ज्या वेळेनी whichever way to create disturbance in that area, they started infiltrating the terrorists, started kind of brainwashing the people over there. And that is how that terror atmosphere was created. And one fine morning or one fine evening, they said all the Pandits of the valley should leave immediately ASAP or you will get killed. And that's exactly what is Kashmir's file speaking. It is a fact. And unfortunately, the media was very mum. An average Indian was not aware of these things happening in Kashmir. We only knew Kashmir for its own beauty and tranquility, and it was a spot for tourism. मुंबईच्या माणसाला काय समजतं? तो फक्त टुरिझमच्या गोष्टी त्याला आत्मीय सत्ता काहीच नाही. बेळगाव आणि ज्याच्यावरती जे गुजरात आणि महाराष्ट्रामध्ये मुंबई आली पाहिजे वगैरे हा करता जे लोकांनी प्राण दिले त्यांना त्याच्याबद्दल काहीच नव्हतं. So only we were talking about 370, परंतु तिकडे परिस्थिती वेगळी होती. धुमाकूळ घातला होता पाकिस्तानी लोकांनी आणि तिकडनं त्यांचे हे उरी वगैरे आपण जे सिनेमा बघतो ते खरे खोटे गोष्ट वेगळी. We not get into it, but these are the terror camps around that LOC. How did LOC happen? These people just decided to take over part of Kashmir and cut off that entire Leh-Ladakh highway. Thank God it was respected by accident by the shepherd, but Pakistan has always incessantly been after that part of India, and their claims have not stopped. They still are talking about it. In fact, it's such a political issue that for every election, every person gets elected on the fact that Ram Janmabhumicha जो issue आपल्याकडे आहे तसा त्यांचा काश्मीरचा issue. As simple as that. Okay. Other trouble spots. I'm almost on the verge of finishing. The French territories, म्हणजे पॉंडिचेरी सारखी जी जागा होती ती 1954 साली भारताने ब्रिटिशांकडे घेतली. Goa was taken sometime in 1961, and on 5th of August 2019, President of India, His Highness Ram Nath Kovind, issued a new presidential order. All the provisions of Indian constitutions were made to apply to the state without any special permission. They abrogated this. Abrogation चे बरीचशी कारणं, legal कारणं आपण त्याबद्दल बोलायचं असेल तर बोलू. माझ्यापेक्षा my intention here was only to give you the परिस्थिती or the situation that was there, वस्तुस्थिती. That this implies that the state's separate constitution stood inoperative. There is no more special status, no more separate constitution for that state, including the privileges allowed by 35A. On the 5th of August 2019, Ministry announced in Rajya Sabha, and the constitutional order was passed 272, that Article 370 will be superseding the Constitution order of 1954, which means that they would be taking over the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir. The grounds for the abrogation of Article 370. Article 370 of the Indian Constitution permits revocation of the law by the presidential order. 1. However, such an order must be introduced before the state's Constituent Assembly. That's the great point. But the Constituent Assembly of Kashmir was dissolved in 1957. As a result, the presidential order was abrogated. हे अब्रोगेट करायचं की नाही हा विचार आपण तर करूच, परंतु as I said earlier to you, this was also to be done in consultation with the Constituent Assembly of Kashmir. बरोबर आहे मगाशी सांगितल्याप्रमाणे. If there was any changes, amendments to be made in 370 of the Indian Constitution which granted a special status to the state of Kashmir, it had to be done in consultation with the Constituent Assembly of State of Kashmir. No, 1954 पर्यंत हा प्रकार चालू होता. 1957 मध्ये State Assembly dissolved of Kashmir. त्यांची जी State Assembly got dissolved. Refer कोणाला करू? Who do I refer to if I want to abrogate or make any changes in 370? I myself. The presidential order was. These are the legal grounds on which abrogation of 370 happened. Now, this was the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which we consider it to be our area, out of which a part of it is taken by Pakistan, part of it is taken by China, and a part of which is a part of India. Now is the situation where the entire state, which was the state of Jammu and Kashmir, is divided into two parts. And those two parts are the union territories governed by the governor and the president. The two parts are union territory of Jammu and Kashmir and union territory of Ladakh. So before it was a full state, of course, divided. We don't accept it, so we don't show the division. Divided amongst three nations. Now, we still show the same place, divided in two parts as union territory of India, and now which is under the presidential order. Equal status for it. Thank you very much. Any questions? Quickly.
अमेझिंग.
Can I have a full screen? Okay, great.
फारच सुंदर. इतक्या साऱ्या गोष्टी ह्याच्यामध्ये होत्या. मागे पण आमच्याकडे म्हणजे
Okay.
आर्टिकल 370 वरती झालं होतं, परंतु काही काही गोष्टी ह्याच्यामध्ये खूप नवीन शिकायला मिळाल्या आणि फार अमेझिंग झालं प्रेझेंटेशन. म्हणजे अनेक गोष्टींचं जे बॅकग्राऊंड तुम्ही अगदी हळूवार स्ट्रीमलाईन मध्ये आणून दिली स्टोरी, आणि एक्सलंट प्रेझेंटेशन. हॅट्स ऑफ रिअली. म्हणजे आय हॅव नो वर्ड्स फॉर द प्रेज टुडे, कारण इतक्या गोष्टी तुम्ही आज ह्याच्यामध्ये असं कंडेन्स्ड फॉर्म मध्ये इतकं आणून दिलेलं आहे ना. आय एम व्हेरी इम्प्रेस्ड टुडे. अमेझिंग प्रेझेंटेशन. थँक्यू शंकर.
थँक्यू.
ऍब्सोल्युटली इम्प्रेस्ड.
थँक्यू. हा प्रकाश बोला. अनम्यूट करा. यू आर ऑन द म्यूट स्टेटस.
प्रकाश काका, तुम्ही अनम्यूट करा.
In the meanwhile, any other any query on that we can share it. हा बोला माधव. प्रकाश हा बोला प्रकाश. नाही, तुमचं ऐकू येत नाही.
आवाज नाही येत आहे. प्रकाश काका असं करा.
आता येतोय का?
हा येतोय. बोला.
बोला.
म्हणलं चेतन म्हणलं तसं एक्सलंट प्रेझेंटेशन, एक्सलंट. आणि या ह्याच्यामुळे ऍटलिस्ट माझे तरी डोळे उघडलेत. म्हणजे बऱ्याचशा गोष्टी माहितीच नव्हत्या आणि त्या बाबतीत मी वाचलेलंही नव्हतं, म्हणजे थोडक्यात. तर आता प्रश्न माझा मेन जो आहे की हे मग राष्ट्रपतींची सही घेऊन जे ॲनेक्सेशन हे केलं, 370 काढला, त्याच्यात म्हणजे त्यांची सही घेऊन हे करण्यावर हा जो म्हणजे आम्हाला जे मी जे वाचलं वगैरे, त्याचा काय अर्थ मला अजून कळला नाही तो.
अगदी थोडक्यात म्हणजे अगदी कायद्याच्या दृष्टीने जर गेलो तर खूपच वेळ लागेल बोलायला, पण अगदी थोडक्यात काश्मीर हे वेगळं राज्य होतं. काश्मीरला ऑप्शन दिलं गेलं होतं, तुला पाकिस्तानमध्ये जायचंय का तुला भारतात जायचंय किंवा तुम्हाला इंडिपेंडंट राहायचं. काश्मीरनी शेवटपर्यंत त्याचा निर्णय घेतला नाही, त्यांच्यावरती हल्ला झाला, बराचसा त्यांचा प्रांत घेतला गेला वगैरे. शेवटी त्यांनी सांगितलं की बरं, वी विल बी अ पार्ट ऑफ यू. आणि म्हणून मग आपण तिथे उतरलो रणांगणामध्ये आणि आपण त्या गोष्टी थांबवलो. हा झाला एक भाग. तर ज्या वेळेला आपण काश्मीर हा आपला भाग झाला, त्यावेळेला आपण त्याला एक स्पेशल स्टेटस ह्या कारणाकरता गेलं होतं, कारण तुम्हाला माहिती आहे की तिकडची 95% मंडळी मुसलमान होती, आणि जर आपण प्लेबिसाईड किंवा रेफरंडम घेतला असतं तर ते अर्थात पाकिस्तानकडे गेले होते. कारण आपल्या अख्ख्या भारताचा जो विभागणी झाली होती तीच मुळात ग्राउंड ऑफ धर्माच्या वरती झाली. आणि जर आपण तोच जर कायदा तिथे लागू केला असता तर ती मंडळी तिकडे केव्हाच गेली असते. म्हणून एक मार्ग किंवा एक सम काइंड ऑफ अ स्पेशल स्टेटस देणं हे गरजेचं होतं. आणि ते स्पेशल स्टेटसचे जे काही आपल्याकडे फॅक्टर्स होते, जे आता तुम्हाला मी अरुणाचल प्रदेश वगैरे सांगितलं, ते पण त्यांना जोडून येत होते. शिवाय त्याच्या आधी काश्मीरी मंडळींकडे हा उठाव होताच की काश्मीरमध्ये बाकी बाहेरच्या मंडळींना येऊ द्यायचं नाही, आणि आले तरी म्हणजे मच बिफोर 1947. So we only continued that and formalized it in a form of a 370 article. ठीक आहे. तर त्याच्यात दोन गोष्टी झाल्या. आपल्याकडे एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असणार, आपल्याकडे एक विधान असणार, आणि 370 ऑल्सो अलाउड काश्मीर टू हॅव अ डिफरंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. Who will look after the constitution of Kashmir? The Constitution Assembly of the state. बरोबर आहे. आपण आपलं मोठं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन घेऊन बसतो, त्याच्यामध्ये 370 हा एक आर्टिकल टाकला की त्यांच्याकडे एक वेगळं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंब्ली कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असणार आहे, विल बी हँडल्ड बाय द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंब्ली. आणि जर तुम्हाला काय कमी जास्त करायचं असेल त्याच्यामध्ये तर एकमेकांना रेफरन्स करूनच करता येईल. यू विल हॅव टू कन्सल्ट इच अदर. सिम्पल. And this could continue as long as you want to, until you decide not to have one. हे करत असताना 1957 97 साल 1950 12 वर्षानंतर ती कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंब्लीज डिव्हॉल्व्ह झाली काश्मीर. मला जर रिफर करायचं असेल की बाबा करायचं का, ॲब्रोगेट करायचं का, त्याच्यात काय बदल आणायचा, तर मी रेफर करायला करू, कोणाकडे करू, हू डू आय रिफर टू? ऍटलीस्ट तुमच्याकडे एक जस्टिफिकेशन असायला हवे. सुप्रीम कोर्टात गेलेली केस आहे, एक आर्बिट्ररी केस नाही आहे की तुम्हाला वाटते म्हणून मला वाटते म्हणून. तर यू हॅव टू हॅव सम ग्राउंड्स. तर ग्राउंडवर म्हणजे ही शक्ल काढली गेली की अरे मी रिफर करायचं तर कोणाला करायचं. 1957 साली तर ही डिझॉल्व्ह झालेली आहे कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंब्ली काश्मीरची. सो देन द प्रेसिडेन्शियल ऑर्डर वॉज पास. प्रेसिडेन्शियल ऑर्डरचा पास असंच होतो की ते आपण डिबेटला आणतच नाही आहोत. whenever you put a proclaim a presidential order, president issues an order. It is not debated in the parliament at all. करायचं की आणि मग ते they got ratified by the parliamentary committees and वगैरे गोष्ट वेगळी. So presidential order was passed by President COVID, जे आहे ते COVID, आणि we abrogated them. It was very technical, it was very legal. If you have to look at it, people may not accept it. कारण ते म्हणजे हे बरोबर नाही, हे नाही, ते ठीक आहे, पण अशा गोष्टी होतात. परंतु त्याच्या आधी पाकिस्तानने एवढा धुमाकूळ घातला होता तिकडे की ते करणे गरजेचं होतं. आज नाही उद्या आपल्याला आपली जर बाजू सांभाळायची होती, इफ वी हॅड टू डिफेंड आवरसेल्फ, वी हॅड टू डू समथिंग अँड वी हॅड टू हॅव अ कंप्लीट कंट्रोल ओव्हर इट. Kashmir file talks about how the Hindus and the Pandits were treated at a given time, sometimes few years ago, and few lakhs of Pandits had to leave the valley overnight and became refugees in their own country. तर ही झालेली जी गोष्ट आहे माझ्या दृष्टीने इट वॉज फॉलोड बाय द लिगल मॅन्डेट. हा माधव, तुम्ही काय सांगितलं होतं?
बस मला हे सांगायचं होतं. अतिशय सुंदर झालं, अगदी मस्त पार्श्वभूमी तुम्ही इतकी सुंदर तऱ्हेने मांडली की बस ज्यांनी ही पार्श्वभूमी पाहिल त्याला 370 आर्टिकल आणि कसं काय झालं ते पटकन इतकं सुंदरतेने तुम्ही समजून सांगितलं. आणि त्याच्यानंतर आज जरी मी ऐकलं वाचलं पण त्यापेक्षा तुम्ही जे हे त्यांचं हे 1957 साली त्यांचे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अबॉलिश झाले, दॅट वॉज द मेन रिझन वी कुड डू इट. एक्झॅक्टली त्यामुळं दे कॅनॉट, नोबडी कॅन चॅलेंज दॅट.
बरोबर, अगदी बरोबर. आपण जे केलं ते कायदेरित्या केलं असं आहे.
Unfortunately, nobody explained that to anyone, and you are the first one I got to admit that you put it in a very, very elegant way and सविस्तर अगदी मस्तपैकी पार्श्वभूमी सांगत तुम्ही करून अगदी जरी एखाद्याने तुमचं हेच नुसतं त्या 4-5 स्लाइड पाहिल्या ना, all their questions will be answered.
Okay,
beautiful, nicely done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
झंकारजी, इथे वैशाली बेलसर यांनी 2 प्रश्न विचारले. So if Kashmir joins India, how come Abdullah was made prime minister of Kashmir? Why not just governed? आणि दुसरा प्रश्न, सॉरी
I just परत एकदा सांग काय म्हणाले.
So if Kashmir joins India,
if Kashmir joins India, okay.
हा म्हणजे सुरुवातीला जेव्हा अब्दुल्ला आणि जी म्हणजे हरिसिंग त्यांनी काय करायचं हे सगळं चाललं होतं ना, तेव्हाच तो प्रश्न आहे. सो इफ काश्मीर जॉईन्स इंडिया, हाऊ कम अब्दुल्ला वॉज मेड प्राईम मिनिस्टर ऑफ काश्मीर? वाय नॉट जस्ट गव्हर्नर?
Neither a chief minister. Ideally and logically, he should be chief minister because this was one of the demands of the special status. कळलं की नाही? तर म्हणून तुम्हाला ते 4-5 प्राईम मिनिस्टर दाखवले काश्मीरचे. म्हणजे आपल्याकडे आपल्या राज्यामध्ये एक असं राज्य आहे की तिकडे प्राईम मिनिस्टर आहे, नाही नॉट अ चीफ मिनिस्टर. म्हणजे गव्हर्नर म्हणा त्याला किंवा तुम्ही चीफ मिनिस्टर म्हणा, काही म्हणा, दॅट इज एक्सेप्टेबल टू ऑल ऑफ अस. परंतु प्राईम मिनिस्टर म्हणजे खूपच झालं नाही का. म्हणजे आपल्या देशामध्ये 2 प्राईम मिनिस्टर असं होतं बिकॉज स्पेशल स्टेटस. द होल आयडिया वॉज टू एन्श्युअर दॅट वी गेट ओव्हर दॅट period of possibility of referendum or plebiscite, because there was a heavy demand by Pakistan to have a plebiscite and they proved that it was unfair. आणि असंही नव्हतं त्यावेळेला की त्या जनतेला पाकिस्तानमध्ये जायचं असंही नव्हतं. they were happy with the Maharaja was ruling Kashmir for long time. 5% of Hindus in Kashmir, 95% of Muslims, and Maharaja was a very good ruler according to them. त्याच्यामध्ये काही वेगळं नाहीच आहे तसं. So to answer Vaishali Belser, okay, Vaishali, त्याचं उत्तर असं असणार आहे की it was a part and parcel of the special status. It was a part and parcel of the special status as much as not having the constitution, not having the legal, any of the legislative or all the kaide kanun of India to be made applicable there, or non-Kashmiris owning a land in Kashmir, as much as that. It's a protectiveness. त्याच्या मागची आणखी एक भूमिका आहे, but it will go into a lot of complexity because at one point in time, Nehru wanted the whole thing where because of the movement of nationalist movement was on, so Hari Singh had arrested Sheikh Abdullah, and Nehru was trying to get him out of it. So there's a lot of complexity. So I just wanted to keep it in a very simpler form for us to understand. And so that you take home some facts. It's not that I'm trying to conclude on something. I'm trying to tell you that these are the facts which you should dwell upon. And basis this fact तुम्ही तुमचा काय निर्णय घ्यायचा तो घ्या. पण बऱ्याचशा वेळेला होतं असं की लोकांकडे बेसिक फाउंडेशनच नसतं आणि फक्त 370 वरती आपण गप्पा मारत असतो. अरे पण आलं कसं, काय आलं, कुठं आलं, केव्हा आलं, हे जर ज्यावेळेला तुम्हाला त्याची माहिती संपूर्ण कळते त्यावेळेला कदाचित यू स्टार्ट अप्रिशिएटिंग. सो आय मेंटेन माय सेल्फ व्हेन आय से अप्रिसिएशन can only happen when you are aware. So awareness creates appreciation and prevents abuse. Simple. Any more?
प्रमोद sir.
नमस्ते झंकारजी.
नमस्कार. Yes,
अतिशय सुंदर होतं प्रेझेंटेशन. त्याच्यामध्ये मला एक तुमचं मत पाहिजे होतं या सगळ्या प्रश्नावरती. ते म्हणजे असं आहे की ही जी मोठी उलथापालथ होती की 370 कलम नेहरूंनी लावलं, एक म्हणजे त्याला कोणाचा तरी इन्फ्लुएन्स असणार आहे आणि तो इन्फ्लुएन्स म्हणजे ब्रिटिशांचा आहे हे उघड दिसतंय. इन्क्लुडिंग हे जे अक्साई नाही, POK जे आहे गिल्गिट बाल्टिस्तान, त्या ब्रिटिशांनाच ते हवं होतं, ब्रिटिशांच्या त्या सोल्जरनी घेतलं कारण रशियासाठी घेतलेलं आहे.
अगदी तुम्ही म्हणताय ते बरोबर आहे प्रमोद. देयर इज अ व्हेरी डीप कॉन्स्पिरसी which
Yes.
is not expressed here, but this entire rebellion by Major Brown in Gilgit and Hunza province, and that entire thing suddenly going to Pakistan,
Correct.
Was a deep conspiracy. As a matter of fact, in the certain readings written by this man, it says very, very clearly, it says that when the Indian representative represented it to the then British authorities, they gave a Nelson's. त्यांनी बघितलं पण नाही, त्यांनी डोळे इकडे केले आणि जे चाललंय ते चालू दे असं
चालू आहे. आणि नुसतं तेवढंच नाहीये, त्याच्यानंतर जे 70 वर्ष 80 वर्ष आता 2019 पर्यंत जे झालेलं आहे की भारताला डेमोग्राफी सुद्धा चेंज नाही करता आले. त्यांनी फोर्सफुली 91 साली डेमोग्राफी चेंज केली आणि भारताला त्यामुळे 2 हात मागे बांधलेले आणि ही लोक सतत भारतावरती हिंस्र हल्ले करतायत. तर हे अमेरिकेच्या सहाय्याशी होऊ शकलेलं नाहीये. हे म्हणजे पहिली ब्रिटिशांची कॉन्स्पिरसी आणि दुसरी अमेरिकेची कॉन्स्पिरसी की तुम्ही करायला गेला की तुम्ही धमक्या देऊन तुम्हाला UN मध्ये खेचायची धमकी देऊन अमेरिकेने पण भारताचं खच्चीकरण केलेलं आहे. आणि 2019 मध्ये जे झालेलं आहे की मोदींनी आतल्या जे अमेरिकेशी गुप्त कारस्थानं चालवलीत की तुम्हाला जर आमची मदत पाहिजे असेल एशियामध्ये तर तुम्ही हे काश्मीरवरती आम्हाला पूर्णपणे आमच्या साईडला या आणि आता हे सगळं आता विसरून जायचं की काश्मीर प्रश्न वगैरे, ते आम्हाला आता POK पाहिजे. हे निगोसिएशन्स गुप्तपणे मोदींनी बहुतेक अमेरिकेशी बहुतेक नक्कीच केलेली असणार आहेत. तसे नाही तर अमेरिका आता एकदम हे आर्टिकल 370 वरती हे जर 20 वर्षापूर्वी झालं असतं अमेरिकेने खूप मोठा आवाज केला असता. समजा नरसिंहरावांनी केलं असतं किंवा वाजपेयींनी केलं असतं तर खूप मोठा आवाज अमेरिकेने केला असता. यावेळेला कोणाचा एक म्हणजे ब्र सुद्धा उठला नाहीये, त्याचा अर्थच तो आहे.
शक्य आपण जाऊ तेवढी कारस्थानं काढू शकतो म्हणजे
आहे. तुम्ही अग्री होता याच्यावर?
टू एन एक्सटेंट. निती आणि निवान, तुम्हाला काही विचारायचंय का नितीन? तुमचा हात दिसतोय मला.
आनंद, सॉरी मी म्हणजे मुलाचं नाव आहे. खूप छान प्रेझेंटेशन झालं तुमचं, थँक्यू. इट वॉज व्हेरी इन्फॉर्मेटिव्ह. मला एक फक्त एवढंच प्रश्न विचारायचा होता. मी ऍक्च्युली आय हॅड बीन टू काश्मीर इन 2012 आणि मला खूप म्हणजे चांगलं वाटलं. इट इज व्हेरी ब्युटिफुल ऑफकोर्स. पण आम्ही गेलो होतो, वी टूर्ड सम एरियाज ऑल्सो. देवर सम रुइन्स, they were called Avantipura ruins, and they were part of old Hindu culture. आणि it was very striking. काय काय ठिकाणी असं लिहिलं होतं, इंडिया गो बॅक अँड ऑल दॅट. It was very sad, but at the same time मला असं खूप वाटलं की this is like part of India, and it is ancient India, very important part of it.
Very much.
Never explained in the history books anywhere, unfortunately. And it was kind of divisive in a way that we feel that it's part of India and it should be. And I think the main part where a lot of Indians also feel is they feel like it's a majority Muslim place. And some people, even Hindus, a lot of Hindu people feel that because it's a majority Muslim place, it should have been part of Pakistan or something like that. Yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion on that, because some people automatically say ki are the Muslim Pradesh hai, ki it should have been part of Pakistan or something, or being independent Muslim state. The ruler was Hindu, so it became part of India.
I completely understand this. Let us understand and divide our thoughts very clearly. The division of India. Understand this. Now काय पुन्हा एकदा सांगा.
Anand Deshpande.
Anand, मतलब ते नीति दिसते म्हणून I will keep on calling you. But Anand, that doesn't matter. Don't have to change anything. Let us understand the division of India was based on the religious grounds. Everybody is aware of it. Everybody is aware of it. The division, the subcontinent of India was divided on religious grounds. As a matter of fact, it is a unique division. म्हणजे वेस्ट पाकिस्तान आणि ईस्ट पाकिस्तान आणि मध्ये इंडिया, 1000 मैलाचा प्रवास आणि मग दुसरा स्वतःचा देश दुसरीकडे, हे असं कधी डिव्हिजन कुठल्याही जगात झालेलं नाही. But it proves without doubt that the entire nation was divided on religious grounds only. हे लक्षात घ्या. डिव्हिजन झाले 15 ऑगस्ट 1947 झालंय, संपलंय. Kashmir is an independent country on 15th of August 1947. Understand this completely. It is neither belonging to India nor belonging to Pakistan, because it doesn't want to be subscribing to this entire nation of division. Subsequent to 22nd of October 1947, whatever happened, Kashmir became a part of India. Yes, it had a majority of Muslims. But the option given to you was pre-independent, my friend. म्हणजे असं झालं की महाराष्ट्रामध्ये लातूर जिल्ह्यामध्ये भरपूर मुसलमान आहेत, म्हणजे ते गेले, ते पाकिस्तान झालं. आज तो भारताचा भाग आहे. काश्मीर हा माझा भाग आहे आज. मग त्याच्यात मुसलमान असो, हिंदू असो, शीख असो, मला फरक पडत नाही. ज्यावेळेला भाग नव्हता त्यावेळेला डिवाइड करा ना तुम्ही. यू अंडरस्टँड? सो इफ दे हॅड डिसाइडेड की मला यू कॅन से मला पाकिस्तान, मला इंडियामध्ये जायचंय, परंतु बेसिस द डिव्हिजन ऑफ रिलिजन तुम्ही तो भाग पाकिस्तानला दिला. पण आज आपल्याकडे हैदराबादमध्ये बरेचसे मुसलमान आहेत. सो टेक्निकली इफ यू सी इट, that how do we divide a given state if it has excessive population of Muslims, when it is a part of a given nation. Today Hyderabad is a part of a given nation called India, and it has lump sum of Muslims. Can you now say it should go to Pakistan? No. ही जी टिपिकल केस कशी निर्माण झाली आनंद, की त्या काश्मीरच्या माणसांनी जर ठरवलं असतं पहिल्यांदीच, तर हा प्रश्नच नसता होतो. त्याला इंडिपेंडंट राहायचं होतं. ही वॉन्टेड आझादी, काश्मीर फॉर काश्मीरी, त्यांनीच सांगितलं. आता त्याच्यामध्ये इन्फिल्ट्रेशन कसं झालं, आता तिकडे जास्तीत जास्त मुसलमान आहे, आणि का तर तो बॉर्डरिंग स्टेट आहे पाकिस्तानला लागून, त्यांचं ते फावलं जास्त. दे स्टार्टेड इन्फिल्ट्रेटिंग इंडिया, मेकिंग various terrorist attempts, which they did throughout for 70 years. They did it. But ते इतके डोईजर झालं होतं की त्यांना स्पेशल टेस्ट द्यायची गरजच नव्हती. दिस वॉज अ डिमांड कमिंग फ्रॉम ऑल द इंडियन्स, आणि ते झालं ऑन टेक्निकल ग्राउंड झालं. हे असं आहे. आज तुम्ही कलकत्त्याला जाओ, कित्येक पॉकेट्स ऑफ कलकत्ता आर फुल ऑफ मुस्लिम. म्हणजे तरी बांगलादेशमध्ये जायचं का? ते असं
I
सगळीकडेच
completely agree with you because I am from Hyderabad and I
So you know-
completely
you
I
know
know
it.
and even though the ruler was Nawab, the Nizam was the ruler, the population was Hindu majority.
Yes,
And
you know the Razakars.
and geographically also it is part of India. The problem was the mistake was originally from India, where also post independence I feel that they did not allow Hindus to settle down in Kashmir or support that population of Hindus, which led to this problem, I think.
Yeah, many things happened. There was a media blackout, many places. Many people were not aware of what was happening in Kashmir. Also, people were not aware of what was happening in Punjab. And Punjab मध्ये पण independent movement झालेली आहे ना खलिस्तानची. How can you forget that? So, government of India played their own role in making a complete blackout of this. कारण मग opinions निर्माण होतात. Opinions निर्माण झालं की मग pressurization. So, if you really look at it, it may sound very atrocious at times, but then how do you save your nation? How do you save your nation? मग तो माणूस मला बॉर्डरिंग निघूनच जातील आपापल्या घरी. आणि big powers like this country will be playing its own role, which they do all the time. Yeah, any more questions?
अरुणा दाभोळकर ताईंनी विचारलंय. ते विचारतात की एक्सलंट प्रेझेंटेशन ऑन ए कॉम्प्लेक्स टॉपिक. व्हॉट आर द लीगल अँड सोशल चेंजेस इन J&K आफ्टर रिपील ऑफ आर्टिकल 370?
Well, Aruna, now that it is a part of Government of India, and I'm sure good amount of investment will flow into that place. Tourism will get a boost, and if the safety and the security of the people going there and doing business is ensured, I'm sure that valley will flourish. That valley will flourish. गंमत अशी आहे की पॉलिटिकलायझेशन इतकं झालेलं आहे की आज तेच ते पीओके की जे आता गिलगिट आणि पाकिस्तान मध्ये आहे म्हणजे आहे तो भाग अजून मागासलेलाच आहे. त्याच्यामध्ये काही झालेलं नाही फरक, कारण पाकिस्तान इटसेल्फ इज हॅविंग देअर ओन ट्रबल. ते त्यांना काय मदत करणार? पाकिस्तानचं कम्प्लीट कंट्रोलवर पीएके, त्याच्यात काय वाद नाही, नावानं ते पीओके. पण आज आपणच तिकडनं जे काही आता रस्ते वगैरे बांधलेले आहेत काश्मीरमध्ये, पीपल ऑफ काश्मीर आर हॅपी दॅट दे आर गेटिंग कनेक्टेड. कोणाला लोक इकॉनॉमी डेव्हलप, कोणाचं राज्य आहे किंवा नाही हा भाग वेगळा. आज पाकिस्तानची परिस्थिती बघा तुम्ही. आय शुड नॉट बी कमेंटिंग ऑन दॅट, बट त्यांनी 75 वर्ष झाली, आपल्यालाही 75 वर्ष झाली. एक दिवसाचा फरक आहे. त्याची परिस्थिती बघा ना. मोदीचं राज्य करायची परिस्थिती पद्धत कशीही असून दे, किंवा मागचे जे काही आपले पंतप्रधान होते त्यांची राज्य करायची पद्धत कशी असून दे, पण दे हॅव मेड अ मार्क इन द ग्लोबल सीन. Compare it with any other head of state of Pakistan. नाही, 100% नाही. आज तुमचे कित्येक मोठे मोठे MNCs are headed by Indians, so that is the acceptability by foreign powers like America, की बाबा ही मंडळी खरोखर they are progressive in nature. तुम्ही सांगा ना, आपल्याकडे इथे 20-25 माणसं पलीकडे कित्येक असतील आपल्या मंडळामधली आणखी. भारतातून यांनी इकडे येऊन त्यांनी काय किती मोठा फरक केलेला आहे स्वतःकडे आणि स्वतःच्या राज्याकरता आणि स्वतःच्या कम्युनिटी करता. म्हणजे काहीतरी आहे ना आपल्यात. समथिंग युनिक इज देअर फॉर अस टू ऑफर. And that's what we have been doing. Who would not like to have immigrants who are progressive and adding to the productivity of a given nation? So they are happy with you and me. आपल्याकडे कुठली माफिया नाहीये. इटालियन्सकडे माफिया आहे, चायनीज माफिया आहे, रशियन माफिया. तुमची माफिया आहे का? मराठी माफिया आहे? नाही. We don't get involved in criminal activities. तुमची मंदिर आहेत, तुमचे दानधर्म करण्याच्या गोष्टी भरपूर आहेत, चॅरिटीच्या गोष्टी, वेलफेअर ऍक्टिव्हिटीज करण्याच्या. कुठल्याच राज्याला आवडणार नाही तो उत्तर. कुठल्या देशाला आवडणार नाही की अशी माणसांनी यावं आणि आमच्याकडे काम करावं. तुम्ही काय कन्व्हर्जन मध्ये बसलाय की यांना मारताय पिटताय, आम्हाला नमाज पढायचा शाळा बंद करतायत, ते करताय तुम्ही. नाही, कॅनडामध्ये करतायत लोक. दे इन्सिस्टिंग ऑन देअर लॉज. आर यू इन्सिस्टिंग ऑन हिंदू लॉज? आपल्याकडे हिंदूचे काही असेला आम्ही हे बटन खात नाही म्हणून तुम्ही शेजारी बोलून करतो का? नाही. त्यामुळे पीपल वेलकम यू. त्यामुळे पीपल वेलकम अस. आपली भूमिकाच वेगळी आहे compared to many other people coming from different communities. I don't want to name it, but it is a fact. I would like to have such people working in my nation. Why not? तशीच आपण तुम्ही जे जिकडनं आला, दुसरे मुंबईतच नाही, भरपूर महाराष्ट्रातून आलं, महाराष्ट्राच्या बाहेरनं आला असेल, तुम्ही काही वाईट केलं नाही. नाही हो, काहीच केलं नाही, चांगलंच काम केलेलं आहे. जे काय बरं मोठं लहान काम केलं असेल ते चांगलंच नाही. एनिवेज आपण विषयांतरात जातो, पण बोला माझं तुमचा म्यूट आहे.
कुठले कायदे झाले तरी पण लोकांमध्ये बदल स्वीकारणं जरा कठीण जातं. त्याप्रमाणे आपण जरी 370 अबॉलिश केलं तरी पण त्यांचे जे पूर्वीचे लॉ होते की तिथं कोणाला जमीन घेऊ द्यायची नाही किंवा सिटिझनशिप द्यायची नाही, तर हे बदलायला तुमच्या मतानुसार किंवा किती वेळ लागेल? आय नो इट्स हार्ड टू टेल.
It will take a while. It will take a while. Acceptance of the whole thing. आपण कायदा जरी बदलला तरी तिकडचे सेंटिमेंट्स बदलू शकणार. वेळ लागेल, पण होईल. आज आपल्याकडे ती मुभा आहे. वी हॅव द फ्रीडम टू डू दॅट. आणि आय एम शुअर द गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया अँड वी विल टेक द कॉग्निझन्स ऑफ द सेंटिमेंट्स ऑफ दॅट पीपल ऑफ द रिजन 100%. जर तुम्हाला ती गरज आहे असं वाटत असेल, वी टेक कॉग्निझन्स ऑफ दॅट. We should not be disturbing the existing and the prevailing practices. We should not. कारण त्याच्याकडे आता तुम्हाला आणखी एक गंमत म्हणून सांगतो की पाकिस्तानमध्ये एक असा एक भाग आहे, त्याला फाटा म्हणतात, FATA, फेडरली ऍडमिनिस्टर्ड ट्रायबल एरियाज. It is worldwide recognized, even including in your own this country of the United States, that the Native American Indians and the native people who are tribals of that area, they have their own personal laws and they should not be disturbed. So Pata is a region which is federally administered tribal area. No Pakistani law is applicable in that region. Such regions, you go to the Mizoram areas or Manipur area, there's those laws, they have their own tribal laws. So we respect it. We respect it. कारण सगळीकडेच तुम्हाला अर्बनायझेशन मिळत नाही. So, as to answer your question, Madhav, it will take a while, and I think we will have to take cognizance of the sensitivity of the population. Yes, and we will do. We should do it. We can't lodge things in them.
म्हणजे लिगली तुम्हाला उद्या जायचं आणि काश्मीरमध्ये 5 एकर जमीन घेऊन तिथं तुम्हाला बंगला बांधायचं म्हटलं लिगली करता येईल.
चुकीचं नाही. पण ते म्हणजे इट विल बी अ वाइल बिफोर यू डू इट.
धन्यवाद. थँक्यू.
अजून एक प्रश्न मला विचारायचा होता की माधव दादा आता म्हणाले तसं जेंडर बायसचा पण एक इश्यू होता ना, की लेडीजना लग्नानंतर
त्यावेळची परिस्थिती अशी होती की वृषाली अणावकर.
हो,
वृषाली, you sorry about this, but do you have anybody known to you as Shubhangi अणावकर?
नाही, मी ओळखत नाही. मे बी आडनाव बंद असेल किंवा माझे आई वडील ओळखत असतील तर माहिती नाही.
She was my classmate, that's why I asked.
माहीमलाच मी पण माहीमलाच राहिलेले आहे शीतला देवी. त्यामुळे माझे काका मुकुंद अणावकर, he was a professor in Mithibai.